Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for this middleweight contest. And Australia's Daniel Kelly is one of the more senior fighters tonight at 40. Canada's Theodorou, 29. The Canadian is an inch taller, and he also has a massive 5-inch reach advantage. With the official introductions, here's Joe Martinez.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the next bout tonight. 3 rounds, this in the UFC middleweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. His background is in judo. At 6 feet even, he weighed in officially 185 pounds. His professional record, 13 victories and 2 defeats. Fighting out of Melbourne, Australia, here is a 4-time Australian Olympian in judo. Here is Daniel Kelly! And his opponent across the octagon, fighting out of the red corner. A mixed martial artist standing 6 feet 1 inch tall. He too weighed in 185 pounds and in 16 bouts has a record of 14 victories and 2 defeats. He is the Ultimate Fighter Nation's middleweight winner. Hailing from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Elias, the Sportive Theodorou! And your referee in charge of the action is Leon Roberts.
Third man in the octagon is Leon Roberts. Thank you, Red. Round number 1, just around the corner. We're set for a maximum of 3 fights. Dan Kelly, Elias, Theodorou. Oh, so Dan Kelly's been agitated in the lead up to this, but he offered the hand, wasn't taken.
And straight away, Elias Theodorou is attacking that lead leg, the knee brace of Daniel Kelly.
When I was speaking with Theodorou, I got the sense that he'd taken a very, very detailed look at Dan Kelly. He also thinks that Kelly has a chip on his shoulder since the Tough Nation show, which Theodorou obviously won.
Well, all of these things play into the storyline of this fight, but what really matters is what both of these fighters have done since they were on that show. Obviously, Elias Theodorou won the show, but Daniel Kelly has done amazing things so far. I mean, you know, look at some of the guys that he's beaten. You know, Antonio Carlos Jr., Rashad Evans, Chris Camozzi, really talented fighters. But what's interesting is that he does have a first-round knockout loss to Sam Alvey. And Elias Theodorou has a win over Alvey, so that may be another thing that's playing into the confidence of Theodorou.
Lots of MMA maths at play here in this middleweight contest.
But I'm terrible at maths, so don't pay any attention to that.
That's why we talk, you know, with words and stuff, rather than mathematicians there.
Big wild punch from Dan Kelly, slipped by Theodorou, who's invested early in those kicks. Oh, it looked hurt for a second.
Daniel Kelly, he swings with some heavy hands. When they clip you, you know about it. I have another little nugget of information as well. So Theodorou spent some time at Igor MMA, which is in Bondi here in Sydney, actually. Now, Coach Igor has actually beaten Dan Kelly before in wrestling.
Right, okay.
So, you know, he was able to get a closer look from someone who's been opposite Dan Kelly in the past.
Yes, possibly some interesting facts that he could impart about, you know, Daniel Kelly's style, things that he likes to go to. I'm sure Theodorou's done as much research as he can, but this is really what I expected. Because of that knee brace of Daniel Kelly, we know he doesn't have the same kind of mobility as someone like Theodorou.
But he makes up for it, Dan, with a kind of awkward style, but it's very, very effective, as we saw against Rashad Evans.
Exactly that. And what's interesting about his style is that he's not necessarily doing anything wrong. You know, his fundamentals when he's striking are right, but the angles in which his punches come from and the timing and the cadence of his movement is very awkward. You know, again, if I liken him to another fighter, the first person that comes to mind is Keith Jardine.
Yes.
Someone that would hit you with shots because you just weren't expecting him to throw that particular shot. You weren't expecting it to come at that particular angle. And that's where Dan Kelly's strength is here, but he does need to close the distance down to land those shots, and that's where Theodorou is causing him problems right now.
Well, it's funny you should mention the distance, because he believes that he identified errors against Brunson, and that was the range, misjudging that, turning his head when he backed away. Very disappointed that he got caught out there, because he was on a decent run. And at his stage of his career, you know, that momentum's important.
Yeah, I mean, he was on a 4-fight win streak until he ran into the big punch of Brunson. But it doesn't really slow his momentum down. I think he feels like at 40 years old, if he's going to do anything in this division, he has to do it now. You know, he has to keep his foot on the gas. I also think he feels like at some point soon his body's probably going to fall apart. So that's something to take into consideration. But to get some wins over these young up-and-coming fighters like Theodorou is, you know, it's surprising to a lot of people, but not if you've been following Daniel Kelly's career throughout, because you just know how tough and durable he is.
Super tough.
I mean, he was walking through head kicks against Rashad Evans to get takedowns, and at the moment he's walking through body kicks of Elias Theodorou. And what's helpful about that is that if the closer he is to the kick, the less of the power he's going to feel. So he's doing the smart thing right now by crowding him and making this a brawl.
Making it a dogfight.
It's those unusual kicks that he's got to watch out for, because like the Condit GSP fight, where Condit dips his head very low to the canvas and he throws the kick over the top, Theodorou does that a lot of the time when he rolls away from a punch and brings up a whipping kick like an alligator tail.
Yeah, Wonderboy Thompson does that very well, sort of disguises the kick behind a right or left hand.
Exactly, yes, exactly. I think his UFC debut, in fact, he threw the right hand and the right kick came over the top, and he didn't really need a great deal of leg power, just like Theodorou's not using. He's very much using the end of the leg. It's much more of a slap kick, but if that lands in the right position, it could certainly knock somebody out.
Daniel Kelly getting like the grip on the back of the head, the tie-up, and with some nice dirty boxing on the inside.
So a quick check of the clock there for Daniel Kelly as well, possibly thinking about a takedown later in the round might help on the judges' scorecards. He certainly doesn't seem tired at the moment, so I don't think that's the issue.
Last few seconds of the opening stanza here in Sydney. We'll return with round number 2 after these.
Good. Deep breath, take some deep breaths first. Deep breath. Big ones, big ones. Yeah, move. Hop up for a sec, hop up. Come back here. Lean back.
On the cage, walk more to the right and expect the escape to the left. Then you clinch. I want more judo. You do the strike, everything's fine, but you gotta put your judo on. And when your judo fails, you don't put your hand down. You keep punching, you keep your dirty boxing, and you win this fight. Doesn't matter.
Because you're not backing him up when you need to.
Listen to Andy,
Listen, when you see him change his angles, you need to go. You can't wait for him. You're fit enough to go all day. The more that you back him up, the slower he's going to get, and then you're going to land more, okay?
I want you to put this fight on the cage. You have to put this on the cage.
Let's go. Keep your hands tight. Get into him, okay? Let's go.
On the cage, Daniel.
On Saturday, November 25th, former middleweight champion Michael Bisping and 26-year-old bruiser Kelvin Gastelum main event in the UFC's first event in mainland China. And you can see it only on UFC Fight Night. The action begins at 7 AM Eastern, 4 AM Pacific, only on UFC Fight Night. Round number 2, Theodorou in the red, Kelly in the black. What did you take from the instructions between rounds there?
Well, the message in the Kelly corner was that you have to continually move forward and cut him off. If he starts to find his way out, you're going to be chasing him for the whole fight. You've got to clinch him, you've got to use your judo, and you've got to dirty box him, which is exactly what he's doing here. It's the clinch breaking is where he's at the most risk, I feel.
Looking down at some of Kelly's stats from previous UFC fights, 88% of his strikes attack the head.
Yes.
A real headhunting style, whether he's clinched up or from range.
But the unorthodox and unpredictable movement of Elias Theodorou, he's keeping his head out of danger a lot of the time. I mean, even when Daniel Kelly's able to get a single necktie or an overhook like he's got now, he's really not landing a great deal of quality shots because Theodorou is moving his head so well.
Let's take a listen into the red corner, Faraz Sahabi and Crew Ash.
Take your time here, Elias. We got 4 minutes. Control that pace, Elias. Yep. Control that pace. Yes. Back to movement.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Seamlessly transitioned into a judo trip. Very nice work. This is where Daniel Kelly starts to excel. Theodorou taking some deep breaths.
Chants of Kelly ringing around the Qudos Bank Arena here in Sydney. And it's just such a ridiculous pace that Daniel Kelly puts on. He's never lost on the judges' scorecards, Dan, and that's just because of his intensity, I think.
Yeah.
And look at that. Attempted 125, Theodorou. 37% accuracy.
As his corner team was saying to him after the first round,
Daniel,
you can go all day. You've got to keep the pressure
Look
on
at me.
you. You have excellent
You got
cardio.
5 minutes. Just stay there for me, okay? Don't move. Just stay there for me.
So now this is interesting because I feel like Daniel Kelly
Probably
obviously
actually
needs the
no
time
drama,
to
just
recover
stay there
from the
for me, okay?
groin
You've
shot,
got
but
5
it's
minutes,
actually
yeah? So I'm on
benefiting
his time,
Theodorou,
okay?
who's
Just
getting
stay
the
there for me.
rest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's one of those whipping kicks just there. Look, yeah, just glanced off the midsection. It was more the foot that caught the cut than anything.
Okay, time in. Gentlemen, let's go.
Kelly, knowing the advantage of his conditioning, wants to keep the pace on him early.
Well, that was a good leg kick there, which upset the balance of Daniel Kelly.
And this is where contending at range is dangerous, as his corner team were telling him. Daniel Kelly has to close that distance down.
Theodorou, 12-0 kickboxing record, behind his 14-2 MMA record as well. He's never been stopped, has the Spartan. Two very rugged and durable fighters when they need to be.
Oh, that was a big left hand from Kelly, who took a head kick, but again just eats it and walks forward.
Theodorou is very good at switching his weight around, throwing it from side to side and coming back with power strikes. Putting together a lot of volume.
Yeah, he does very well with that pendulum motion, switching his body from one side to another and allowing the rocking of the momentum to bring his leg up for the kick.
Well, let's listen in to what the Dad's Army are talking about in the blue corner.
Don't wait for him. Yes, like this. Like this. Yes. Like go. Now it's yours. Now it's yours. Now it's yours. Yes. Now it's yours. You heard him. You heard him. Kill time. That's it, Danny. Come on, let's go. Need to put him in the cage. Come. Back him up. Back him up. Back him up. Now, make him time. Stomp with the foot. Stop. Need everything. Watch the break. Watch the break. Yes. Watch out of the break.
Kelly's corner barking instructions, 3 different directions coming at him there.
See, although Elias Theodorou is doing a good job of staying out of the clinch, you know, he does tend to find himself caught up in there for a second before he's able to circle off and get free. But one thing that's worth bearing in mind is that he has not decided the pace of this fight. I mean, the pace and the range of this fight really is being dictated by Daniel Kelly, which can be exhausting, even if he's not successful. But as you said, John, you know, he's a winner by decision, so possibly that's a tactic. Getting into the third round and use that taxing game plan in the first two to open up those opportunities in the third round to really make a big statement late.
Both fighters are very used to going the distance. 9 times for Theodorou, 5 times for Daniel Kelly. What a pace here these guys are setting though, inside the last 20 of round number 2. And there it is again, flicks out that right kick. Straight off the front leg as well, Dan.
Yeah. 73 of 177 strikes attempted by Theodorou.
Third and final round coming up.
You got one takedown, but you landed all the strikes. Okay, you're doing good. You're doing good. Give me this. You're doing fantastic. Okay? Elias, you're doing fantastic. Yeah. Listen to me. You got to just pace yourself. The only way you can beat you now is if you get tired, right? Yeah. So you're going to be smart about it. You're going to recover in the round, and you're going to keep those kicks coming along. The lead leg, you chopped it up beautifully. You got to just do the other side of the leg, okay? The outside of the leg too.
Careful that kick when you are close. This is in the
Yeah, that's why he took you down. Stay disciplined, but I want you to control your pace. Okay? Don't let him make you look like you're tired.
Stand up.
That's his only chance.
Yeah.
You TKO'd him to the body, okay? That's why he stopped, because you hurt. It wasn't a low blow. So his body's hurting.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, same step. Okay?
5 more minutes, you're going to finish strong, okay? It's the last round, Elias. We're finishing strong. Let's go, baby.
Right back to you, please, Daniel. Thank you.
Hey fight fans, check out the UFC store on your mobile device, get your favourite fighter gear and more. Shop now and receive 15% off during tonight's fights. Use the code UFC Oz and start saving today.
One line that stuck in my head from Faraz in the corner to Elias Theodorou. He says, the only way he beats you now is if you get tired. So obviously that's a consideration from Faraz and the TriStar team as well.
Sorry, Dan. I think you can see Dan Kelly sort of limp on that right leg.
Yeah, it's starting to bother him. I mean, Theodorou was invested very early. That was a nice body kick.
Really, it sounded like a drum. Sitting up nice. Yeah, that really tested the chin.
The eagerness of Daniel Kelly's now starting to pay.
Oh, that was a huge kick in return as well.
Yeah, that inside low kick's bothering him. He's now starting to reach down with his hand when the kick is coming. That's not a good sign because that leaves his head open.
Theodorou told me that he actually likes facing these southpaw opponents. It opens up the power side of his game.
Well, one of his major weapons is that right kick. He uses it so well, so when he's facing a southpaw, obviously, you know, the whole inside of the body is open to that. He can chop into the lead leg, hammer into the midsection, and keep testing the chin as well. Wild exchanges here.
Look at the punches there by Kelly. 53-29 for Theodorou. So the punches for Dan Kelly, very much the kicks for Theodorou. 58.
Oh, look at this! Daniel Kelly's got the arm sunk. It's under the neck. He's looking to get the hooks in as well, but Theodorou is trying to get out of this.
Squeezing with everything he has left is Dan Kelly. Theodorou doing the right thing, trying to peel off that choking arm. But he's okay, showing the thumbs up to the referee, Leon Roberts.
Controlling that wrist is a good idea, and now Dan Kelly's not quite on his back.
Yeah,
he's
going to
lose his position. Good work by Theodorou here. He's controlling that wrist. As soon as that next freeze on top.
Yeah, lost out now. It's Theodorou's chance to try and take the back as Kelly scrambles to his knees.
Do you hold Dan Kelly down, though, is the question. Still half a round to work for both fighters.
John Good and Dan Hardy here in Sydney calling the action. And what a night it's been.
Now Elias Theodorou in the clinch, possibly trying to get some air in his lungs and clear his head from that rear naked choke attempt. Even though it wasn't successful, his breathing was restricted for a good few seconds. And when your heart's pumping and your body's thirsting for oxygen, any deficit to that can be a big factor going forward.
Front kick there from Theodorou. He's really working those legs in this fight. I mean, working the legs, like throwing lots of kicks. Takes a lot of energy, unless of course your energy systems are adapted to that there.
Yes.
There's half your body that you're trying to lift around the octagon.
Kelly's still pressing forward.
He knows no other way. Daniel Kelly does not have reverse in his gearbox. Recently turned 40 years of age as well. Oh, that's a nice setup. Jab to low kick to close the distance. Kelly's corner willing him on, beckoning him forward. They really want to close the distance on Theodorou and smother this movement. Very hard to land kicks when you take away that range. But Theodorou very, very well conditioned. Super mobile tonight here in Sydney.
Still pressing forward, but you have to think a lot of the quality work really has been done by Theodorou. Almost doubled the striking output.
But the will and intention of Daniel Kelly, you can just see it in his face. He's really getting after it.
He's able to throw those kicks from anywhere really as well. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, getting creative now is Theodorou.
He's certainly tired though. Glanced up at the clock.
Last
16
15 seconds in this intriguing middleweight fight. That saw the slick work of Theodorou and the gnarly work, the powerful come-forward job of Daniel Kelly. Well, he very much left it all inside the octagon, went running after Theodorou at time. We'll have the official decision when we come back. Sydney, Australia. We have just seen the final bell go between Theodorou and Kelly. Let's get it inside the octagon to Joe Martinez. He has the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. The totals are 30-28, 30-27, and 30-26. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Elias, the Spartan Theodorou!
It sounds to me like you've upset a few people in this arena.
Yeah, it happens. I went in their hometown. I think people are offended because I didn't high-five him at the beginning. But Dan was shaking my hand the whole time. And then we saw each other in the elevator and he started swearing at me and cussing at me and being all aggressive. He was talking about how I was two-faced. But I'm going to squash that because I'm very Canadian. And I'm going to look after my idol, George St. Pierre, who said nothing but positive things.
So obviously you guys knew each other before coming into this. You were on Tough Nations together. Obviously you won that as well, and there's been some animosity between the two of you. Did that affect the fight?
No, it's not on my side. But either way, if they can boo, I went home with my whole paycheck, and I get to go back to the drawing board. I've only been doing martial arts in any capacity for 8 years, and 6 of them are professional. I took on someone that has done judo longer than I've been on this earth.
Was there anything that surprised you about his game? Obviously, you know he likes to push forward and try and clinch, but was there anything that surprised you about his approach?
Well, it was working. He was very, he's a specialist. So I knew what he was doing, going forward and trying to hit me. But either way, I did me. And the important thing is getting your hand raised.
Well, you certainly did that tonight. Congratulations, Elias, the Spartan Theodorou.
So our move of the fight is sponsored by Metro PCS, bringing you closer than ever to the UFC, putting knockout coverage in your hands by covering 99% of people in the US. And there is a nice trip there by Daniel Kelly, but lots of volume and output there by Theodorou, Dan.
You know, it was just that constant forward pressure from Daniel Kelly, which is exactly what we expected. But it did leave him open. I mean, Elias Theodorou very much approached this like a point fighter, constantly racking up the points, landing clean quality shots. Daniel Kelly's closest attempt was that rear naked choke, which was very, very close, and I'm sure he will be kicking himself that he didn't able to get that the tap there. But it was a good performance from both guys, and you know, we could see this one run back.